Today I have a very special video as part of the exciting Junk Journal July 2023 Challenge collaboration. I'm thrilled to be joining forces with the incredible Meg from Meg Journals, as well as numerous other talented artists as she celebrates her 10th Junk Journal July collaboration. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So for this year's challenge, Meg has handpicked the best of the best prompts from the past challenges, creating a nostalgic and inspiring best of experience. And I have the honor of diving into the prompt that Meg has chosen for today, which is framed. So if you're familiar with the December daily series called Defemorember, then you probably have seen this journal before. This was my Defemorember 2022 journal, and I actually still have some pages in here that are still empty. So I found one that is going to be perfect for what I have in mind today. And if you haven't seen this journal and you are curious to have a peek inside, you can find this linked in the playlist linked below for my Defemorember 2022 series, which was a collaboration with my dear friend Louisa Heinzel. So in the very back here, I have this one very special page with a shoe bill. And I will link this video for you below as well in case you want to see this. This is ephemera made out of packaging and it has a very special story. So check that out if you haven't seen it. And the important thing about this page is that it has a page in front of it which is still empty. So I'm going to use one of the frames from a freebie that I made recently, which you can also find linked below this video. I've also used some of these frames in these two spreads in my planner, here and here. And I will also link these two videos for you below in case you want to find out more about who these people are and how these pages developed. So first I need to choose which frame I want to use for today. I want one that will give us a sneak peek to this beautiful endangered shoe bill. I was first considering this one here, but I think I might go with this bigger version actually. So find a page in your journal or planner where you have something that you want to maybe highlight a little bit more. And if that page has a page in front of it where you could still add something, even if it has a background already on it, this is a really fun and easy project. So I'm going to start off by cutting this frame out, the inside as well. I'd like to share again my tip for cutting out the insides. One version would be to use a Stanley knife, but if you don't want to do that and you want to use your scissors, take smaller scissors and then first cut from the middle. So you make a hole in the middle and then you cut to your corners. And also at least once to the middle of your frame, and that way it will be a lot easier to cut out. So now I have these flexible pieces which really make my life a lot easier, and then I just go along the edge here and cut away all of these triangles. By the way, I printed my frame on 200 GSM paper. Obviously, you can also just print this on regular copy paper. I like having something a little bit more substantial if possible. And now I want to take this one step further. This is obviously optional. I'm going to add some clear embossing powder to make this a little bit shiny. Maybe you have some varnish or some glossy accents, some glossy medium or something you could add if you wanted to have a similar effect but don't have the clear embossing powder. I'm going to use my new Distress embossing dabber. You could also just use your embossing stamp pad if you have one and just go over it. Or also one of these Distress embossing pens would of course work. I'll turn my paper around because I did get some embossing gel on this and I don't want my embossing powder to stick on it. let's turn it and then add our embossing powder. Okay, and now I will use my heat gun on this. So once I have it embossed, I have this shiny frame. If you wanted a little thicker coat, you could of course also add another layer of your embossing powder. Okay, I think I need to put some books underneath here because this is quite challenging to work in. So next I'm going to trace the frame. I just want to make sure that I have it in the right place, which in my case is not going to be right in the middle, but that's okay. Okay, so I think I want it like this. So I'm going to trace the inside of the frame onto my paper. And then I'm going to cut this out again. So I'm going to use the same method and start with a hole in the middle and cut to the corners and the sides of my square. So then we check our frame and we make sure that we don't see any of the paper underneath. So we might have to adjust a little bit. Like here, I can still see the paper. So I will just cut that away as well. I don't want to see any of that. Okay, so we're making sure that we don't have any of the paper peeking through. And of course, I don't want to leave the page as it is. And in my case, I want to use similar techniques and colors that I used on this piece of ephemera. So in the background, I had some tea bags. So I have some here. So, and if you're new to junk journaling and you don't know how to get these beautiful grungy tea bag pieces, they are just regular tea bags, no matter what brand you have. Most of these are from black tea. So once you use your tea bag, what I do is I hang it up, which will help it dry really quickly, but you can also just lay it on a plate or something. It will take a little bit longer, and once it's completely dry, you can easily open it up and take out the tea, and then you have these beautiful grungy pieces. So I'm going to choose a few of these, enough to cover the whole background here. And I'm going to apply them with my Liquitex matte gel. I don't like glossy, so that's why I use the matte gel. But if you don't mind the glossy, you could just use any glue, like a PVA glue or any like white glue that is going to dry clear. You could of course also apply it with just glue stick, but then I wouldn't add the glue stick on top because that's going to be glossy, depending on whether you like the glossy look or not. So I need to put a paper underneath here. And then I'll just apply my matte gel. And I'll add a layer on top. Mod Podge might be a solution for you. And I'm just going to keep going around until I have everything covered. I'm tearing these edges off because I like the more grungy part for this project. I don't mind when there's a fold like this. I'm going for grungy, so the more imperfect it is, the better. Great exercise for us perfectionists. Okay, I need one last strip on this side. So when that has dried, we can go ahead and cut off any excess pieces. Also here in the middle, of course, we need to cut out the frame one more time. Obviously, we're not throwing these beautiful pieces away. We will keep them for future projects. And it's really nice that I can still see the colorful ink here on my edges through the tea bags. So this is a really quick and easy way to grunge up a page. I do want to add some more interest on this page. And you see here I stenciled with some black acrylic paint. Originally, I thought I was going to use the same stencil around the frame here, but looking at it again, I think I want to do something differently. So we have this very classical frame here, and I think a beautiful contrast would be these cogwheels. So this is what they look like, and this is a mask by PM Artist Studio. They are called Cascading Cogs. And I will link them for you underneath this video in case you want to check these out. So I'll just use my black acrylic paint and my flat stippling brush. You can also use a makeup sponge like this. I have better results with this because the sponge sometimes gets the paint underneath my mask or stencil, but maybe that's just because I have more practice with the stippling brush. The most important thing when using masks or stencils is not to have too much paint on your applicator. So in this case, my stippling brush. So I'm going to go into the paint, load it up, but then I need to be sure to get a lot of it off again. This works really well with a rough kitchen towel, because when you have a dry brush like this, you're going to get really good results. And there will be no paint seeping underneath your mask or stencil. So I covered up my shoe bill again. I'm just going to place it randomly. I'm keeping in mind that, of course, the frame is going to cover up some of this. Very, very grungy today. I love it. Okay, let's add some more to this corner here. I don't have to go all the way around. Maybe like this. Yeah, I'm good with that. Then I also want to add a little bit more color to this, and I'm going to use my Prima Marketing Pastel Dreams colors. I will link these for you below. And I want to use this beautiful Pool Party pigment. You could of course also use your distress inks. So this here is the Pool Party one. If you're thinking about purchasing this palette, please be aware that there's 12 colors in the palette. So these 6 and these 6. So all the colors you see here. The rest here I added from different palettes. So I'll just make that wet. And I will use my splatter brush. You could also use a normal paintbrush. I'm making a mess here. It's okay. And I know this is going to come as a surprise for you, but I am also going to add some gold splatters. I know. So then we could add the frame either as it is, or we could add some vellum underneath. That would also be a fun version. Or we take a piece of acetate packaging and add that, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut out a piece a little smaller than the outside of my frame. Then I'm going to take some glue and put it on the inside of my frame. I'm choosing art glitter glue because I like the narrow metal nib, and place the acetate on top. And then we add more glue on top of that. And glue that over our window. And since I have the cogwheel theme here, I'm also going to add some metal cogwheels and also this clock here to symbolize the extinction of the shoe bill and of course many other species. It's like a time bomb. So I think this clock represents that very well. But I want them a little more gold than they look right now. So I'm going to add some metallic gold wax on top. I have this one from Craft Emotions, which is very nice because it's very soft. It's non-toxic. It smells like oranges. And I'm going to apply this with my little finger glove. This is just one of the fingers cut off of a rubber glove. And then I'll just add that paste on top. This is just super quick. It dries very quick and then it's permanent and it really smells nice. I'll add some black thread underneath that as well. Glue that on with some PVA glue. If you would like to hear more about my favorite glues for junk journaling and which glue I use for what and why, you can check out the video linked in the description box. Remember that creativity doesn't end here. Make sure to check out the links in the description box below for more information and prompts related to this fun collaboration hosted by Make Journals. Let's continue embracing the magic of journaling together and keep the momentum going throughout this Junk Journal July challenge. I can't wait to see what beautiful creations you come up with. Happy journaling and may your creativity always be beautifully framed. See what I did there? Love you guys.
Mwah, mwah.